I feel like everyone uses that, but at the same time, I feel like it's just lit. Like women's basketball, the game, how far it's come, the excitement, the attention. Maybe I'll start with you, Kels, because Lord Jesus, your team and their fans,
Jesus,
they be getting up in everybody's business.
What you're about to see sums up the WNBA media in a nutshell. In her very first breath, former WNBA player and ESPN analyst Chiney Ogwumike highlights the explosive growth, excitement, and unprecedented energy currently surrounding the WNBA. Then, without missing a beat, she immediately pivots to dunking on the very people responsible for all that growth and excitement: Indiana Fever fans, and more specifically, Caitlin Clark fans. And it's not like she threw shade at the Fever fan base during an ESPN segment. She did it directly to the face of a respected, beloved, longtime Indiana Fever player who recently showed her loyalty by re-signing with the team. The disdain for Caitlin Clark's fans apparently runs so deep and is so common that she feels she can just criticize them in any setting. And the tough part is, it's only going to get worse as this season unfolds. I'll dive deeper into exactly why in just a minute. But before you run and get your blood pressure meds, this is a feel-good story, because the way Kelsey Mitchell responds to this is pure class. Chiney clearly didn't anticipate Kelsey's reaction, and by the end of this interview, Kelsey completely dismantles the negative Fever fan narrative with perhaps the most genuine and heartfelt statement about the Fever you've heard. Let's get right into it. But first, hit the like button right now to show Kelsey Mitchell some love for standing tall against the haters, and subscribe for more Fever updates, because trust me, there's going to be plenty of drama this year.
You know, a lot of people say that Caitlin Clark moves the needle. That is wrong. She is the needle. She dictates. We all know what she's done on the floor. It's history, right? But off the floor, my goodness, she and the Indiana Fever accounted for 45% of all the broadcast value of the WNBA last season. She accounted also for helping drive the numbers of merchandising up 500%. Of course, her jersey was #1.
So yeah, it was just a few months ago that Chiney openly admitted something we all already know about Caitlin Clark. She hasn't just moved the needle, she is the needle. She single-handedly attracted millions of new eyeballs to the WNBA. And yeah, I said single-handedly. Because I don't care what you say, Angel.
It's not just because of one person, it's because of me too, and I want y'all to realize that.
The receipts show that Caitlin is the straw stirring the drink. That's why your team only plays at the United Center when Caitlin's in town. Speaking of which, let's be clear. These new fans are directly responsible for the incredible surge in league viewership, record-setting attendance numbers, and unprecedented merchandise sales. I mean, did you catch the recent report about Caitlin Clark's jersey sales? It's absolutely jaw-dropping.
So we have another notch in Caitlin Clark's belt, as it's going around that she has the second most jersey sales, not in just the WNBA, but in the NBA. She eclipsed LeBron James, she eclipsed Luka Doncic, and she eclipsed Michael Jordan, who, by the way, deserves a nod for still even being in the top 10 of jersey sales. And the only person that outsold her as of November 2024 was Steph Curry.
Caitlin Clark's jersey sales aren't just first in the WNBA, they're #2 across the entire NBA. As you may know, Caitlin Clark doesn't play in the NBA, and yet she's outselling every single NBA superstar other than Steph Curry. That is insane. Seriously, there are so many proof points clearly demonstrating that Caitlin is in a league of her own. It's impossible to even list them all. But let me hit you with the most recent dagger. This year's NCAA March Madness viewership dropped off by more than 10 million viewers during the Final Four and championship games. The first March Madness after Caitlin left college. We're talking apples to apples comparisons. Same event, same teams. Without Caitlin Clark, the audience shrunk more than George Costanza.
I was in the pool!
And now, the hype heading into this WNBA season is absolutely off the charts. Caitlin's high-profile interviews, major media appearances, and countless speaking engagements are building excitement like we've never seen before. Another contributing factor was Caitlin skipping Unrivaled. While some thought turning down $1 million or more for a few months of play was crazy, it actually amplified the anticipation. Think about it. This is now officially the longest we've gone in a few years without seeing Caitlin Clark on the court, and fans are craving it more than ever. Combine this pent-up demand with her newly loaded supporting cast from an incredible offseason, plus the historic number of nationally televised Fever games, and I'm telling you right now, the numbers this season are going to absolutely crush anything we saw in 2024. The networks know it, and you can literally feel the momentum building. And you know who can't handle it? The haters and critics in the media who simply refuse to accept reality. Which brings us right back to Chiney's interview with Kelsey Mitchell, and why it reveals so much about what's really going on behind the scenes.
Lord Jesus, your team and their fans,
Jesus,
they be getting up in everybody's business.
Can you honestly think of a more disrespectful way to introduce a question? Your fans are getting in everyone's business, delivered as if that's somehow negative. Like these fans are doing something wrong, like they're bad people. First off, and I've said this clearly in past videos, there are two main reasons Fever fans are passionately getting involved: being loud, and yes, even trash talking on social media. First, they care, and second, they know they're only there because of Caitlin Clark.
Largest lead for either team has been 7. Clark with the kick out to Samuelson. At the end of the quarter.
Therefore, when they're told that Caitlin isn't responsible for the league's growth or otherwise disrespected, they defend her, and sometimes that includes putting down other players or the WNBA as a whole. But if you care about growing the women's game, this is what you want. That's passion. That's engagement. If these fans didn't genuinely care about Caitlin Clark or the Indiana Fever, they wouldn't even bother tweeting, debating, or getting heated online in the first place. I mean, seriously, what kind of fantasy world do these players and media personalities live in? Do they expect fans to all hold hands, cheer equally for every single player, and never express a critical or competitive opinion? That's simply not how sports fandom works, and it never has been.
If ESPN videoed a Caitlin Clark workout, it would have averaged more viewership than Rivals. Like, I mean that. Like, it genuinely is, it's scary, this type of hype. Like, I thought it was gonna die. I literally thought it was gonna die.
The reason this level of intensity might seem so jarring to some is because no other WNBA team or player can match it. Caitlin could generate more buzz for the WNBA than all other players combined with a social media post of her eating at Chipotle. I mean, did you see the Dude Perfect teaser? It got over 12 million views in a matter of days, and that's not a problem. It's a good thing. The league should be thrilled about this level of enthusiasm, not threatened by it. Anyway, back to Chiney. That was a terrible, borderline insulting way to address her guest. And honestly, it would have been completely understandable if Kelsey Mitchell had gotten defensive, frustrated, or upset. But instead, she handled it beautifully and delivered an absolutely incredible answer.
Starting with you, Kelsey, and then going to B and NECA, how have you guys experienced, is there like a moment that you think of when it comes to the explosion of the game and how it has changed the game?
Oh, man, I think I've seen both sides of it. For one, being on a team with, Caitlin and knowing that some of the stuff and the wave that she created for, where the game is and what she's been a part of, as far as this process, I've seen so much of it. And so I think for me lately is the shift in moments in Indiana, period, as far as, the arena, where we started. And B was my vet, kind of, right? Kind of.
We up there, sis. We up there.
She was a Fever girl first. And so she also saw, and she's a vet too. They've seen what Indiana was, and I think now where it's at now, the big moment is seeing the shift and being a part of it from a standpoint that I know where Indiana was, and so to see the cultivation of it, you just grow to appreciate the process and the growth in which the game is going.
Now, obviously, when Chiney took that shot at Fever fans at the start of the interview, she knew exactly who she was talking about: Caitlin Clark fans. The absolute last thing she probably wanted to hear from Kelsey Mitchell was praise for Caitlin Clark and acknowledgement of the incredible momentum she's brought to the team and league. But guess what? That's exactly what Kelsey gave her.
She's asking about the explosion of women's basketball, and Kelsey Mitchell doesn't waste any time to mention Caitlin Clark and what she has created. It's not what Chiney wants to hear. It's not what the media, ESPN media, the WNBA, the old guard, it's not what they want to hear, because they're continuing to tell us that it's not Caitlin Clark who has created anything in the league.
And even beyond just giving Caitlin her due credit, Kelsey provided some crucial perspective that every single Caitlin Clark hater really needs to pause and try to understand. Before Caitlin Clark joined the Indiana Fever, they were averaging barely 4,000 fans per game. Let that sink in for a moment. And now?
Well, how about the knowledgeable fans in this building?
They're routinely selling out games with crowds surpassing 17,000 fans, actually outdrawing the NBA's Indiana Pacers, who play in the exact same arena. If you're Kelsey Mitchell and you've stuck around through all those tough, lean years when your team was considered a doormat in the WNBA, then suddenly you find yourself in a basketball mecca, the hottest ticket in town, the most exciting atmosphere in the entire league. Of course, you're going to give credit where it's due. And let's be clear, Kelsey has openly, repeatedly, and graciously credited Caitlin Clark for transforming the franchise and elevating the entire league.
You know, and to add on to what Christine asked about women's sports in general, you guys have played almost every game before a sellout crowd this whole season, wherever you've gone. And how much does that affect you on the court? Do you ever look around and say, hey, this place is packed, they want to see us? Those kinds of things?
I blame Caitlin.
Fever's been making some fun off-season moves. How you feeling?
It's hot, Caitlin. It's hot there. Damn it, Caitlin.
Now, here's what I really like about Kelsey Mitchell, especially in comparison to other players in the league. If anyone had the right to be jealous of Caitlin Clark, it's Kelsey Mitchell.
It's Mitchell gonna have to hoist. Oh, Mitchell! A perfect end to the half for Kelsey Mitchell and this Fever offense.
Think about it. Kelsey has been the Fever's star player for years, tirelessly putting in work while the team struggled, enduring losing seasons, and playing in front of sparse crowds averaging just a few thousand fans per game. Then, seemingly overnight, a rookie shows up and completely transforms the franchise into the hottest ticket in town. Yet Kelsey's response? Pure class. She gives Caitlin credit without hesitation, unsolicited, always with genuine respect and a smile on her face. She gets it, and she knows the buzz, however it comes to be, is amazing for the league and all players. And it's not just Kelsey. The new Fever players, they all get it too. They understand the moment they're stepping into and appreciate what Caitlin's presence has meant for the team, the franchise, and women's basketball as a whole.
I mean, you know, she has changed our game in the best possible way in every way. And so just to be alongside of her and maybe relieve the pressure.
To watch what Caitlin did for this franchise from afar, different perspective.
Yeah, no, it was nuts. There's no other way to say it. It was nuts. I think, you know, you're seeing a team that's now like affecting the economy in the city. You got people coming from out of town, out of state, out of the country, maybe even to see games. And so that's special.
And honestly, we're going to need a lot more positive talk from players like Kelsey Mitchell, because the hate and negativity toward Caitlin Clark and her fans lately has been completely off the charts. From Monica McNutt openly claiming on ESPN that young girls in the Midwest only admire Caitlin because she's white, to the Guardian article suggesting that Caitlin's fans dislike Paige Beckers simply because Paige is more vocal about social justice. It's obvious that the haters are starting to run out of genuine arguments and legitimate criticisms. I mean, notice how you'll never see this kind of criticism aimed at Paige Beckers. In fact, the media is tripping over themselves to celebrate Paige and say she should be transformational, but it's Middle America's fault she isn't. And that's precisely because they know she isn't the type of player who radically changes the league's power dynamics. She's safe, she's talented, but she's not a league-changing superstar, which means she's on par with other stars and therefore safe for the old guard to elevate. I mean, did you catch Cheryl Swoops rocking a Paige Beckers t-shirt recently? You can bet you'll only see Cheryl sporting a Caitlin Clark t-shirt when hell freezes over. And here's the thing. Behind closed doors, it's an open secret in league circles. It was recently reported that WNBA general managers privately acknowledge Paige Beckers' immense talent and believe she'll likely become an all-star, perhaps even a Hall of Famer. But those same GMs unanimously agree that her impact won't even come close to matching Caitlin Clark's.
It's really hard to impact the game as a rookie. One GM said, what Caitlin did last year was so special and unique. Paige is a special player. I think she'll be a good player this year, but I'm not expecting a Caitlin-like impact, and it's an unfair bar to set. Yes, obviously.
Until Caitlin Clark has a true match, someone who genuinely commands the same level of fan interest, media attention, and sheer electrifying impact, she'll continue to have that target squarely on her back. Unfortunately, the jealousy and resentment won't fade anytime soon. The more she shines, the brighter her spotlight gets, the harder her critics and competitors will push back.
Indiana Fever superstar Caitlin Clark has been named Time Magazine's Athlete of the Year. So the award, which has been distributed since 2019, Clark becomes the first WNBA player to ever win this award.
It's human nature, really. When one player stands head and shoulders above the rest, envy inevitably follows. And right now, Caitlin is simply on another planet. But here's the thing. Caitlin herself clearly isn't bothered by the noise. She's going to keep doing exactly what she does best, dominating games, captivating audiences, and elevating women's basketball to heights we've never seen. The jealousy? It's not stopping anytime soon. Fortunately, some of the greats of women's sport are coming out to support her.
When you see like a Caitlin Clark, what advice would you have maybe for her?
I just love that she tries to stay grounded, and she says she doesn't, what did she say? She doesn't have a social, she doesn't look at her social, and I get it. I don't either. And I think it's so important to continue to do what she's doing, and no matter what other people do, then if people are negative, it's because they can't do what you do, basically. And hopefully she'll continue to do what she's doing.
It's going to take a lot more voices, especially respected legends like Serena Williams, Lisa Leslie, and Cheryl Miller, who've recently stepped up to silence the haters, to truly set the record straight and finally dismantle the garbage narratives being spun about Caitlin Clark and her fan base. But back to Kelsey Mitchell for a minute, because she wasn't done yet. She had a powerful message of her own that couldn't have put Indianapolis, the Fever organization, and their fans in a better light. Toward the end of her interview, Kelsey delivered a heartfelt response emphasizing something incredibly important: the significance of playing somewhere you're genuinely valued and appreciated.
Any form of advice based off experience is that all money is not good money. And I mean that literally. I've seen myself in situations where I had to figure out if I wanted to come back to Indy. I had to figure out what was best for me. I lost my parent. So it was like figuring out what I needed, and I figured out that you have to go where you're literally loved. And I mean that literally, and I mean that intentionally. Go where you're loved and not tolerated, because all money is not good money. So.
Here's the thing, Kelsey Mitchell is an incredibly respected player. She's a star who's been through it all with the Indiana Fever, the highs, the lows, and everything in between. As she said clearly and passionately in the interview, she chose to return because Indy is the place where she feels valued and loved. Clearly, this is more than just basketball to her. She genuinely loves this franchise and deeply respects its passionate, growing fan base. Remember when there were rumblings in the media about the Fever supposedly having a toxic locker room culture, or that Indianapolis wasn't a desirable destination for free agents? Well, that narrative was thoroughly debunked the moment Stephanie White, DeWanna Bonner, Brianna Turner, Sydney Colson, and Natasha Howard, proven veterans and champions who easily could have played anywhere, decided to sign with the Fever. These players knew Indy was exactly the place to win and, more importantly, be part of something genuinely special. Kelsey Mitchell understands this completely, and that's why she's so passionate in her response. Indy isn't just a place to play basketball anymore. It's become a basketball epicenter, a community, a family, and a winning environment. And she recognizes exactly who helped create that: Caitlin Clark, the organization, and yes, those incredibly passionate fans who've shown up in record numbers to support the team.
I met one of the greatest people in the world, Caitlin Clark, who just ran the basketball world. So I think together we hope to make you guys proud. We hope to make you guys feel like you're a part of our success and our journey, and I'm here. Let's do this.
Listen, this is the turning point for the entire WNBA. With the CBA negotiations coming up, players across the league are expected to see a massive jump in pay and better conditions, all because of the Caitlin Clark effect. This moment right here, this surge in popularity, the skyrocketing attendance, the record-breaking TV deals, this is exactly what WNBA players have been pushing for years. But let's be honest, many of them, and many in the media too, clearly didn't want Caitlin to be the one driving this unprecedented growth. Tell me in the comments why you think that is. But guess what? This year, they're all about to get a major dose of reality, because Caitlin Clark's impact is about to explode like never before. Last season, Caitlin was already going head-to-head against NBA games and winning. This year, she'll dominate the national spotlight. My prediction? She'll easily drive regular season viewership past 2 million per game. And frankly, it wouldn't shock me if her 2025 opener cracks 3 million viewers. And we'll get our first litmus test in May with the Fever's preseason game against the Brazilian national team. Let's be clear, if a WNBA preseason game featuring mostly unknown players draws 1 million+ viewers, we know exactly what kind of season we're in for. The haters will be absolutely beside themselves.
All right, check this out right here. Eyes are up, I see you, and you know your big is trailing the play. Now this is a lefty using that left hand, and yeah, that's going to be a highlight reel.
But the good news is there's also a growing contingent of people who truly understand and appreciate the magnitude of this moment. Kelsey Mitchell is undoubtedly one of them. She has a front row seat. And more than that, she's earned the chance to finally see all her years of dedication and hard work in Indy pay off in a huge way. She's part of something truly special, and she knows it. If you're still here, leave a basketball emoji in the comments to say hi. Thanks for watching.